Wakatarisa muno so Erica like where you are sitting. Nozongo kona bata face so pasina muno.
Wakasiya music yako yo Afro chakuti ndo music manje no Zimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so
Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe ndiwo rupawo rwako ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erica Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Are you planning an event and you're looking for equipment? Or you are looking for a professional space to create your moment? At ZTN Prime, we don't just supply equipment, we amplify your brand. We have fully kitted studios available for hire, ready to bring your professional content to life. Plus, unlike ordinary providers, we integrate your event with the power of the Zim Papers ecosystem, reaching over 12 million people. From premium production and high-quality gear to nationwide coverage and seamless live streaming, we handle it all. Experience the ZTN advantage. We create, capture, broadcast and amplify your vision. Get in touch with our ZTN commercial production unit today. Contact Ivy or Tinashe and turn your event into a powerful brand experience.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erica Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play.
The one story where you can't get out of your head. Karo mwana mnemambama mu studio. Wakatarisa muno so Erica like where you are sitting. Nozongo kona bata face so pasina muno.
wakasiya music yako yo Afro chakuti ndo music manje no Zimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so
Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe ndiwo rupawo rwako ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erica Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Are you planning an event and you're looking for equipment? Or you are looking for a professional space to create your moment? At ZTN Prime, we don't just supply equipment, we amplify your brand. We have fully kitted studios available for hire, ready to bring your professional content to life. Plus, unlike ordinary providers, we integrate your event with the power of the Zim Papers ecosystem, reaching over 12 million people. From premium production and high-quality gear to nationwide coverage and seamless live streaming, we handle it all. Experience the ZTN advantage. We create, capture, broadcast and amplify your vision. Get in touch with our ZTN commercial production unit today. Contact Ivy or Tinashe and turn your event into a powerful brand experience.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erica Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play.
The one story where you can't get out of your head. Garowa mwana mnimambama mu studio. Wakatarisa munhu so Erica like where you are sitting. Ndozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako iyo Afro chakuti ndo music manje yemuZimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so
Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutauri muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe ndiwo rupawo rwako ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erica Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Are you planning an event and you're looking for equipment? Or you are looking for a professional space to create your moment? At ZTN Prime, we don't just supply equipment, we amplify your brand. We have fully kitted studios available for hire, ready to bring your professional content to life. Plus, unlike ordinary providers, we integrate your event with the power of the Zim Papers ecosystem, reaching over 12 million people. From premium production and high-quality gear to nationwide coverage and seamless live streaming, we handle it all. Experience the ZTN advantage. We create, capture, broadcast, and amplify your vision. Get in touch with our ZTN commercial production unit today. Contact Ivy or Tinashe and turn your event into a powerful brand experience.
Good evening. You're watching Wednesday's edition of News Plus with me, Wadzanai Sanswele. Your top stories. President Mnangagwa has challenged youths to embrace patriotism, innovation and servant leadership as government is investing in them through education, skills development and economic empowerment. Still on News Plus, we examine the significance of the Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment No. 3 bill after its signing into law and its expected impact. Later on in our bulletin, every citizen entitled to access emergency medical care. And in sport, Zim Bangladesh to shift base to Bulawayo for T20 series. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. We begin with the Information Minister, Dr. Jemu Soda, who has described the enactment of Constitutional Amendment Act No. 3 of 2026 as a milestone that ushers in a new constitutional dispensation for the country. He said the achievement belongs not only to one individual, party or institution, but to the people of Zimbabwe who raised their voices in unison, shaping the country's destiny. Now, the bill was signed into law by President Mnangagwa this Tuesday, and the process spanned the required constitutional period with a total of 540,037 were written submissions received by Parliament and 67,688 submissions recorded at public hearings. Now, after the Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment number 3 was signed into law, attention now shifts from the legislative process to what the reforms mean for Zimbabwe's governance and institutional framework. And so tonight we will examine the significance of the new law and its expected impact. So to help us unpack this, we have the Zim Papers Group Political Editor, Ranga Mataire. Ranga, good evening and thank you very much for joining us here on News Plus. What do you think are the direct economic benefits of the new law, which shifts to a 7-year election cycle, among other issues?
I think there are direct, immediate benefits that can be accrued from this new law. You are aware that previously we used to hold what were called harmonized elections, which involved the election of members of parliament, the election of local authorities, councillors, and the election of the president. And in terms of the budget, I think it was estimated to cost around $188 million. And we're just talking about just that, but there are other costs involved. So the immediate benefit that will be accrued to the nation is the reduction in terms of treasury costs of holding what we used to call harmonized election. That's the immediate one. The second one is that in terms of economic development, it allows for continuity of policies. So if the election cycle has been extended from 5 years to 7 years, it means that whoever is the incumbent has ample time to pronounce his policies, promulgate them, implement the policies so that they have a direct benefit to citizens.
So, Ranga, has there been any precedents in the region so far? Do you know of any other countries with a similar system?
Yes, in terms of other countries in the region, we may not even talk about other regions like Europe and so forth. In just Southern Africa, I think South Africa and Botswana easily come to mind in terms of having an indirect election of a president. So Zimbabwe is not an island. I think this is a historic, from a media perspective analysis, I think this is a historic development. It is a historic development in that at every stage of development of an individual nation state, there are always certain dynamics that, prompts the leadership or that prompts citizens to think about ways in which they can sustain themselves in terms of stability, in terms of peace, in terms of even foreign policy. So I think those that have been opposing when it was still called the bill, that have been opposing, we're not opposing from a standpoint of saying that there is an erosion of democracy. I think they were just opposing on the basis that they were in opposition.
Thank you very much, Ranga, for sharing that insight with our News Plus viewers. Now, earlier on, we spoke to the ZANU-PF Director for Information and Publicity, Farai Marapira, who said that now that the bill has been passed into law, the focus now shifts to the continuation of economic turnaround.
Thank you very much. Now that the bill has been passed into law, we go back to the main focus of President Mnangagwa and the party, which is the economy. Only to remind the people that this bill, which is now law, was simply administrative in nature and sought to speak to the economy, sought to speak to the vision of President Mnangagwa, sought to speak to the continuation of the economic turnaround that is obtaining as we speak. So as ZANU-PF, we thank the people of Zimbabwe. They've shown us immense faith. They have stood with us. They've stood with the president. And this gives us more energy, more impetus to ensure that we fulfill the mandate that is continuing to be given to President Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF.
Now, in other news, dry taps and estimated water bills have become a double burden for Kwazana 5 residents, with some paying for water they say never reaches their homes. Now, upgrades to Harare's water infrastructure and the rollout of smart water meters are raising hopes for more reliable supplies and fairer billing. We give you details on that story.
For more than 20 years, Angeline Zindoga has called Kwazana her home. Frustrated by years of inconsistent council water supplies, she was forced to drill a borehole to secure a reliable source of water for her family. Yet, despite no longer relying on council water, she continued receiving substantial municipal water bills based on estimated consumption.
But ichi chirongwa ichi chandinakira nokuti kundinakira kwachandiitira ndechekuti even ndine mugodhi wangu ndinogona kuvhara mvura yekanzuru kana ndisina kuishandisa handisi kuchajwa. Zvasiyana nekuti handisi kuishandisa ndiri kungochajwa. Saka iko zvinezvi zvafair.
Angeline's experience mirrors that of many Harare residents, including Kwazana. They are hopeful that the introduction of smart water meters, a partnership between Harare City Council and Helcro Water, will ensure households are billed only for the water that they actually consume.
mwezi ndakatobhadhara mari $75 ndakadzoka ndichisvika ndichiona paine $50 ndakasvika ndakanobvunza ndakapa risiti zvainzi hatisiuziva kuti yakafamba sei asi ndabhadhara napiwa risiti saka zvinhu zvinonetsa saka kana zvakadaiswa ivo handinotenda hangu.
Despite this positive development, there are still concerns around water production at Morton Jeffrey Water Treatment Works, which currently stands at 300 megalitres per day, far below Harare's demand of 1,200 megalitres per day. However, ongoing upgrades at the water treatment plant are expected to increase output to 520 megalitres daily. To improve service delivery and minimize water losses, efforts are ongoing to repair edging and damaged pipes.
At Morton Jeffrey, our target there is to do some rehabilitation works to increase water production this year by at least 75 megalitres. Then in terms of pipe replacement, our target this year was around 106 kilometers. So far we have done 52 kilometers of pipe replacement. We've changed the old pipes with the new PVC pipes.
The investment in water production infrastructure and smart metering is expected to improve supply, reliability and transparency to water billing for thousands of households across the capital. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Satashisiwe Gwaza in Harare.
And now in our top story, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has challenged the youth to embrace patriotism, innovation and servant leadership, saying government is investing in the next generation through education, skills development and economic empowerment. Now, he made the remarks while officially opening the 34th session of the Junior Parliament at the new Parliament building in Mount Hamden.
Addressing the joint sitting, President Emmerson Mnangagwa reminded the young legislators that Zimbabwe's freedom was secured through the sacrifices of young people during the liberation struggle, urging today's generation to remain patriotic, honor the country's heroes and heroines, and safeguard the nation's independence.
I therefore challenge the children, young people of our motherland, Zimbabwe, to remain mindful that independence never came on a silver platter. Love your country. Be patriotic at all times.
The president said government is deliberately investing in the country's future by empowering young people and giving them a voice in governance through the Junior Parliament, which has now been running for 34 years. He said the platform reflects the Second Republic's commitment to nurturing future leaders, noting that the dedication shown by the Second Republic is helping drive Zimbabwe's modernization and industrialization agenda.
For you, our children, the current African leaders are determined to ensure that you have access to quality education, quality health, quality shelter, safe environment, as well as access to skills and training that make you ready for the world of the future.
This year's session brought together 373 junior parliamentarians on a day which honors the victims of the 1976 Soweto uprising, when skilled children were killed while protesting against apartheid in South Africa. In a State of the Nation address, Junior President Tinashe Mugodi called for increased investment in clean water and sanitation, improved access to quality and inclusive education, affordable sanitary products for the girl child, and expanded drug rehabilitation services, particularly in rural communities.
As we officially open this sitting of the Junior Parliament of Zimbabwe and commemorate the Day of the African Child under the theme ensuring universal access to water, sanitation and hygiene for every child in Africa.
Youth Minister Tinoda Machakaire said a government will continue creating platforms that empower young Zimbabweans to actively contribute to national development.
As government, we remain unwavering in our commitment to ensuring that every child has access to quality education, healthcare, clean water, sanitation, opportunities for growth, and platforms through which their voices can influence national development.
President Mnangagwa officially declared the 34th session of the Junior Parliament open, with resolutions from the young legislators expected to feed into government policy on children's welfare, education, youth empowerment and national development. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Iben Mabunda, Mount Hampton.
Now, Director of Pathology Services in the Ministry of Health and Childcare, Dr. Maxwell Hove, says every Zimbabwean has the right to emergency medical treatment regardless of their ability to pay. And he made the remarks during the first Zimbabwe International Paramedics Day commemorations that were held in Harare this Wednesday. Now, he warned that health institutions which fail to provide emergency care could face prosecution. The remarks come as the government has gazetted amendments to the Medical Services Act, making it mandatory for all private hospitals and health institutions to provide life-saving emergency treatment to patients with life-threatening conditions, irrespective of their financial status. And under the new law, health facilities are required to stabilize emergency patients for up to 48 hours before transferring them to another institution.
As I say, in our constitution, there is a right for every person to be attended to in any medical situation. So all these ambulances you see here, regardless of whether somebody can demonstrate that they can pay the medical aid, they should, by law, attend the patient first, and then issues of payment can be done later. In fact, just I think yesterday, the Medical Services Amendment Act, which incorporates that right that was provided in the Constitution, which is now law, as from yesterday, it's now law. It means if an ambulance refuses to take care of an emergency medical situation, they can be prosecuted in our jurisdiction now.
Meanwhile, organizers of the inaugural Zimbabwe International Paramedics Day say the event is meant to recognize and celebrate the dedication and sacrifices of paramedics, who are often the first responders during medical emergencies.
Unsung heroes. No one appreciates the work that we do. Sometimes we face a lot of calls are really depressing. Sometimes tunaenda calls akapanywa a lot atofa kudhara. It's not easy kuramba uchiona vanhu vakafa, kuramba uchiona mortal injuries mamwe ari so severe, decapitations and all that, and nothing, no one really celebrates.
The Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, ZEC, has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening voter education through a strategic partnership with Zim Papers, leveraging the media company's diverse platforms to reach audiences across Zimbabwe and beyond. The commitment was made during a visit by a ZEC delegation led by Chief Elections Officer Simbarashe Tongai to the Zim Papers head office this Wednesday. Now, during the visit, the delegation toured the company's newly established Converge newsroom and various operational departments to gain an appreciation of Zim Papers' integrated multimedia operations. Speaking after the tour, ZEC Deputy Director Thomson Chiwereweshe described the engagement as a significant milestone in enhancing voter education.
We learned a lot from this engagement. There are a number of platforms that we can leverage on as Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, especially in the area to do with voter education. We are looking forward to further engagements so that we can also leverage on most of them. I think there are a number of platforms that we observe that we can also ride on in terms of the work that we do. One of our mandate as Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is to do voter education. And you will find that is the area to do with dissemination of information. And we are saying as Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, in partnering with Herald, we can get our information disseminated to the generality of the public in Zimbabwe.
Now, Zim Papers Chief Executive Officer William Chikoto welcomed the partnership as a privilege for exploring partnerships.
Yes, we are quite privileged to receive the Chief Elections Officer from the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission and his team, who came just to explore opportunities for partnerships with the Zim Papers. We were able to explain to them the different platforms that we have here and how we can help ZEC in terms of voter education and any other information that is to be conveyed during the electoral cycle. We also were able to show them our digital first approach, that we now have global audiences, that whatever message that they have, we can get it to whoever they want to reach.
Coming up is business news.
This July, get ready for stories that will make your heart race. From love and passion to secrets and lies that can ruin everything. Catch the sizzling episodes of Sins and Roses at 4 p.m, Domenica Monteiro at 5 p.m, Be My Sunshine at 6 p.m, and Avenida Brazil at 7 p.m, Central African Time. Only on Novelas Plus, Channel 133 on DSTV.
Zimbabwe's capacity to test food quality and safety has received a major boost following the donation of laboratory equipment worth $70,000 by the World Food Programme to the Standards Association of Zimbabwe. The equipment is expected to speed up food testing, improve quality assurance, and strengthen confidence in locally produced food. Faith Nyaude reports.
Among the equipment is a microwave digestion system and a laboratory grinding mill expected to significantly reduce testing turnaround times while strengthening the country's food safety systems. The equipment will enable SAS to carry out more specialized food quality tests locally, reducing dependence on laboratories outside the country while improving services for manufacturers, exporters, and development partners.
Prior to buying this equipment, we would have to send our samples out to get them tested, to have the whole battery of testing that is needed. So to shorten that time in future, we decided to approach SAS to see if they would be interested in partnering with us.
Officials say the investment also strengthens Zimbabwe's national quality infrastructure at a time when demand for internationally recognized testing continues to grow.
Timely and internationally credible testing services continues to grow. As the National Standards Board, SARS has a mandate to facilitate the development and use of standards, provide testing and inspection services, support certification, and contribute to the safeguarding of communities.
WFP says the improvements could also support Zimbabwe's long-term ambition of reclaiming its position as a regional food procurement hub by ensuring locally produced food meets international quality requirements. For ZTN Prime, I'm Faith Nyaude in Harare.
Now, for more news updates, you can download the ZTN Prime app on Google Play Store and on Apple App Store, or visit ztnprime.com. News Plus will be right back with sports news. Stay with us.
Numerous cases of people falling asleep have been reported across the African continent. No one can explain this phenomenon.
With 24/7 FIFA World Cup coverage, sleep can wait. Everything can wait.
Catch all 104 matches from as little as $10 live on SuperSport, only on DSTV.
Zimbabwe Cricket has named a 15-member squad for the 3-match T20 International Series against Bangladesh, retaining the core of the team that reached the Super 8 at the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026. Now, the only changes see fast bowler Newman Nyamuri and batter Milton Shumba come into the squad, while Ben Curran remains in line for a T20I debut. Captain Sikandar Raza will lead the side as Zimbabwe seek to build on a successful World Cup campaign that included victories over Australia and Sri Lanka. Graham Cremer misses out through injury as he is nursing a left arm fracture, while Brendan Taylor and Tony Munyonga are also unavailable. Now, the T20I series will be played at Queen's Sports Club in Bulawayo on 15, 17 and 19 July, concluding Bangladesh's white ball tour of Zimbabwe. Now, in other sports news, Highlanders off-field challenges continue after Chief Executive Officer Denzel Mkandla was suspended for a second time in 3 months. Mkandla was served with a suspension letter this week, just weeks after returning to work following an earlier suspension over alleged irregularities linked to the club's pre-season training camp in Botswana. Now, sources say the latest suspension follows his decision to stop reporting for duty after allegedly going for several months without receiving his salary. The club is understood to have instructed him to return to work before instituting disciplinary proceedings. And that's a wrap on News Plus this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Watanai Sansole. We leave you with the weather.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.